Some of the tools that I use for a demonstration would be something to consider. These are tools that are available both for, as I mentioned, near or reading tasks and also for distance tasks. Also just being able to have a writing, a pen, maybe a clipboard available. Even a book stand or a reading stand sometimes can help so that a person can place their book a little bit higher and not have to hold the book and hold the glasses. So the first one that I use is a standard distance chart that's used often in low vision called the Feinbloom distance chart. And it's available through Designs for Vision and Designs for Vision in New York. The reason I like the Feinbloom chart is we're measuring 10 feet away, and I just saw a young man the other day who, when we brought out the chart and I said that I'm going to put this 10 feet away, the parents said, oh, he'll never see it 10 feet away. And he was severely visually impaired, and as soon as I threw up the biggest number, they said, oh yeah, he can see that very well. And so by going through the chart and the larger numbers first for someone who's more moderate to severely visually impaired, it gives the person a chance to say, well, yes, I'm able to see those 3 or those 4 or those 5 numbers. And so it kind of warms them up into seeing it 10 feet away and being able to look through the chart. These numbers are much larger than you would hear about in like a Snellen chart with a big E. So these numbers start at what's called 700. So the fraction would be 10 on the top, 700 on the bottom, 600, 500, and so forth. So to convert that, you would use, you would double the top and the bottom. So it would be 20. If it was 300, that would be 2,600. And it gives you a starting point to help you understand what the patient is seeing at 10 feet away. Oftentimes when we get down to a little bit smaller numbers for someone who's around 2,200 to 2,400, they may call out a number 9 or a number 7, but they may not be able to see one of the numbers. That's common, a common thing that occurs. So when I would go to the next chart, they might see the 2 and the 6 and not see this one again. That gives you a clue that perhaps if their macular degeneration, their blind spot, is more dense over to this side, and they're using part of their vision that they're not aware of to get these easily, but this one becomes more difficult. So one of the things I do in that situation is also just talk about eccentric viewing. And if no one's been prompted to move their eye into a certain position, this is a good time to do that. This is a basic skill that may help somebody later when they put the IrisVision on. But if they don't know how to do it without the IrisVision, it is really difficult. So one of the things I would do would be to say, now, oftentimes I might see somebody kind of moving their head. I'll say, try to get, there's one more number, try to get it, and they're moving their head. And I would urge them to keep their head still and then slowly move their eye. And I tell people, think of it like a clock, where you would move your eyes slowly up, like 12 o'clock, or a little to the right, like 3 o'clock, or kind of go around and say, which position, when I hold my eye up or up and to the right, which position does the number finally pop in? And they can oftentimes tell you. These are for people who have a central blind spot in both eyes. Now, if somebody has one eye that's 20/60 or 20/50, they probably don't have a large enough blind spot to do this kind of eccentric viewing, because the eye can determine these numbers easily. But somebody who can't see that and is starting to stumble, it's a good thing to be able to urge them Once they get the idea of, oh gee, when I move my eye up and to the right, then I can see better, then you'll often see that they'll go one or two more cards, because now they know where to look. And so we instill in them the idea that this is a skill that they'll be able to practice throughout the day, with and without the device. And that skill will help later in doing things like pouring liquids. Instead of pouring, looking straight, they'll know to move their eye to the right when they're pouring hot tea, or picking up a pill off the table. Eccentric viewing is an important skill for those with macular degeneration.